No one is immune to criticism. Not me, not this YouTuber, not that YouTuber. Everybody has a good dose of criticism that is deserved. And I'm going to be talking about Shane Dawson, seemingly one of the most bulletproof YouTubers there ever was. I don't think that Shane is a bad guy. I don't think he's a malicious guy, but some things just bothered me. I'm going to go through a few things that I think maybe Shane should do or not do in the future, even if he's already taken some of these things on board. I didn't have a YouTube channel then, okay? So we're going to talk about it now. The first thing in chronological order is the whole TanaCon fiasco. He went way too easy on Tana in this. Like, she just starts crying and he's like, oh, there, I'm sure you didn't know, when there's video footage of her bragging about how it would be great if there were loads and loads of people turning up and if we sold this amount of tickets. The truth is, Tana was at fault, and so was the guy who organised the entire event. They both were at fault. Tana was the face of it, so of course Tana's going to take the fall for it. But there's no responsibility put on her by Shane at all. She just cries. Is this what women do when they want to get rid of responsibility? Am I going to do something terrible in the future? Just get on camera and go, oh, I'm just so emotional. I just need to cry. This is such old news, but it's something that has bothered me throughout this entire channel of Shane's. He just goes way too easy. He's like, oh, it's alright, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's not fine. People got sunburnt, people got dehydrated, and Shane owns up to this a lot more than Tana does. Second of all, the Jake Paul documentary did not tickle my fancy whatsoever. I watched all of it and I just got more and more disappointed with each episode. First of all, he brings on Katie Morton, who is a therapist, to try and explain sociopathy to him. And yes, she does in fact clarify that it's not actually diagnosable, it's under antisocial personality disorder. But he brings her in to attempt to add more credibility and then covertly assess him, as in covertly assess Jake Paul for traits of it. I know he did it to try and add more credibility to the documentary, but this is possibly one of the most unethical things I've ever seen, and it doesn't actually add any credibility. If Katie was a fully fledged therapist, psychotherapist, psychiatrist, if she had all the qualifications under the book, she still couldn't say whether or not that she knows that Jake Paul has antisocial personality disorder, because, well, one, that would go against ethical guidelines, and two, she has prior knowledge of him, so any analysis that she made would be completely invalid. She already knows who Jake Paul is. She has, ideas and preconceived notions about him. So she can't. You have to have a separated status of client and therapist. You can't have external relationships with your clients or with somebody that you're trying to assess, because that will inevitably impact the analysis as well as the therapeutic sessions. As well as this, Katie was one of the people who was shilling for BetterHelp right in the very beginning. So, I don't know. You tell me what that says. As well as this, I really dislike the part where Shane just steps out and goes, look, 1 in 100. There could be one sociopath in there. There could be one in there. There could be one in there. I'm scared. Really, let's stigmatize antisocial personality disorder. Yay! Well, he did address this by adding the clip of somebody who was in fact diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder in one of the following episodes. The damage had already been done. It's obvious that people like Amberlyn Reid picked up on this and just decided to call all their haters sociopaths. And it seems to be a very common insult or accusation in YouTube today. Thank you, Shane Dawson. Now for this section of the video, I'm actually going to link another video by D'Angelo Wallace in the description, because he goes into things a little bit more than I could. I tried to watch the newest series with Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star, and I got so bored. The majority of it felt like filler content, and it just felt like a really long ad for the palette, and everything about Dramageddon that he had promised, there wasn't a whole lot of that. One thing that has particularly annoyed me in Shane Dawson's documentary series is repetitive joke telling. He'll constantly walk into Jeffrey's house or just be sat next to Jeffrey and be like, I'm so poor. It got really old really quickly. And let's not pretend that you're poor. Okay, you weren't on the Forbes list, but you're not dirt poor. I think this is something that Shane brings up in an attempt to sound relatable, but Shane Dawson does have a net worth, everyone. He's not poor by any means. In October 2017, the Gazette Review estimated Shane's worth to be about $400,000 per year. In 2018, it was estimated again that it probably was more like $4 million. I just don't like this pseudo kind of I'm so poor vibe, and I guess if you're sat next to Jeffree Star, anything that you make seems like peanuts, but come on, Shane. It's a bad joke and it's not exactly true. Other repetitive, humorous, or attempts at mood swaying include the intense music where he turns and goes, conspiracy. That's old as well, not too keen on it. Another thing that D'Angelo managed to bring up was the fact that Shane is somewhat manipulative in his series when he's freaking out that no one's going to buy the palette. Okay, I suffer with anxiety as well. I completely understand it, but to the lengths that Shane goes to express that he's worried that no one's going to buy this palette, even though this is a collaboration palette with Jeffree Star. In fact, it's not just a palette at this point, it's a range. People are going to buy it. People are going to buy it just because that they like Shane, and people are going to buy it just because they like Jeffree. It's a win-win. Then there was the discrepancy with the number of episodes. Jeffree says afterwards that there never was going to be a total of 9 episodes. When announcing the series, he says 9 whole episodes. It just comes across like the palette was released and then the series was momentarily dropped for no reason. And then it kind of came back with a whole 6 minutes of drama video content, which didn't actually give us any new information at all. There was no behind the scenes or any new juicy details. It was just recycled content. One thing I'm going to heavily criticize Shane on is that he doesn't vet the people in his videos. I'm not going to repeat the name of this couple, but when going through certain reviews and unboxings of the palette, he featured a couple. And without trying to trigger YouTube's algorithm for sensitive content, this couple isn't fond of other people from other backgrounds or certain skin pigmentations. In fact, they don't like them a lot, and they make a lot of disparaging comments about people who like people of the same gender. And he features them even though in the same live stream where they're showing off the merch and unboxing them, they do make these comments. So whether it's the fault of Shane or Shane's team or whoever found that clip, someone is at fault here for promoting that. And people want to say, oh my god, Shane cannot spend hours and hours looking at background information on everyone he puts in their videos. Yes, he can, and yes, he should. If he can spend hours and hours filming and editing a documentary series that is essentially filler content, I'm fairly sure that Shane can do a quick background check on the people he's putting in their videos. And it doesn't take long for us to see what kind of people these people are. It's something called due diligence, and whether this was Shane himself or his team, this was not fulfilled. It seems like people want to give Shane the credit of being a documentarian without any of the responsibilities. And any time you try to levy a criticism against Shane, it tends to be the same kind of response. Oh my god, Shane isn't perfect. He can't do everything. No one said Shane was perfect. Well, some people seem to think that he's perfect and above criticism, but here I am making this video. If Shane wants to be seen as a serious documentarian, he needs to vet the people in his videos. No, he can't do severe background checks into the one thing that person may have done years ago, but he can look at their related content and content that has been uploaded just in the last few weeks, just to tell what kind of people they are. Most of these are just little personal bugbears that I have. At worst, it's just like sloppiness on his behalf, and it's really nothing that's going to change the course of history. It just bothers me. If you want to be taken seriously as a documentarian, you have to do your thorough research and you have to make sure that the actual content of the documentary flows and isn't just filler content. He's a talented filmer and video maker, but I just think some of the stuff that he did in his video was lazy. I've done my own documentary, quote unquote, video on Becky J. Brown, and although some people complain that it's a bit weird and stalkerish that I decided to make an hour-long video on Becky, I'm sure the same people would have complained if it was too short because I must have left out some details in order to make Becky look bad. But I delivered, and I mentioned everything that I said I was going to mention in as much detail as possible without dragging it on and making it filler. And I think this is what Shane needs to do. If you're going to promise behind-the-scenes drama and a full look at the beauty industry, you kind of need to deliver on that. Obviously, there's a heck of a lot more work than Shane had to do travelling from place to place and actually filming, whereas I'm just sat here on my iPhone. I think the basic principle is the same. If you promise something, deliver it. So just quickly to recap on the criticisms that I've made. Number one, he needs to be a lot more harsh with the people in his videos that are going through scandals, even if they're his friends. Number two, he needs to be careful about the information that he's spreading and the things that he says. Number one, about the whole sociopaths are super scary. Number two, with his own anxiety. Yes, I know it's hard and I know you might have doubts about yourself, but telling people over and over again that you're scared it won't sell is only going to make them feel bad and obligated to buy it. He needs to be a lot more vigilant and vet the people in his videos, whether that's adding in a therapist because he thinks it makes him more credible when it really doesn't, and that couple that I mentioned that are not so good. And last of all, it's just a personal bugbear. I don't like the repetitive humour, I don't like the whole poor, I'm so poor jokes and the conspiracy and the strange music. It's just personal. Some people might love it, I think it's irritating. That's it really. Again, I don't think Shane is an inherently bad person, I just think he misses a lot of marks that other YouTubers might be called out for, but Shane doesn't. Let me know what you guys think. Am I way out of line for saying this? Do I have some points? Just let me know if I'm crazy or not in the comments. I do have a live stream, technically today, the 28th of November, starting from 9 p.m. London time. If you guys want to tag along and we can chat about all sorts of things, including how terrible I am for making this video, I'd enjoy that. I hope to see you guys then. Bye.